Excuse me, guys. I do that every time I go live. I think it's a nervous reaction or something. Hey, Lori and Eve, and I seen Ruby up there. Oh, wait a minute. I just knocked you guys out. I knocked myself out anyway. Crazy, crazy. Who else we got? I seen Ruby, Lori, and Eve. Dion's in here. Let me catch up with you guys' conversation. Lori, you are the first today, and when I get home, I'll tell you what. Email me, give me your address. I'll send you something special. Ask Pat Wicks. She's got one. Not too many people have one. Oh, fried green tomatoes is second. You guys just email me, and I sent Pat the prettiest rose quartz heart that I got. Got a few of them. Ruby, I need your information. You need to email me and give me your information or text me. All right, I'm gonna turn the camera off, even though the background is really pretty here. Well, Dion, am I saying that right? Is it Dion, or do they pronounce it like Diane? I want to call your name right. This is okay. I kind of went into, well, I didn't kind of, you don't kind of do anything. Went into Andrew Hiltz's live this morning. Lori said, did you guys see they said Oakley was found, but unfortunately no longer with us. That's horrible. That is so sad. Ruby. Ruby, I'll drop a link here pretty soon. You're right, Ruby. They're going to have to open up a new prison for parents like that. It is just horrible. Lori said, I think the mother did finally because I think maybe Friday, they said they thought she was passed and where she may be. And then the alert today. Yeah. I don't get it why these parents, if they don't want children, then they shouldn't have children. Sorry, you guys, I got to get back down in my chat. I was going to go on at 12 and I had to go get cigarettes. Sounds like I need cigarettes, right? Freaking hacking coughing. Hey, Lucy Cat, you got your modded mod. Hey, Missy. I kind of wanted to explain something that kind of I seen happening in Andrew's chat. Hey, Judy Jennings. Nothing bad, okay? Somebody had an opinion in there, and I think she kind of felt like that people were they were discounting maybe what she was saying. And I looked in chat, and I don't think that they were trying to do that, because your chat has a conversation. And if somebody has a question that you think you can answer, or, you know, even just wanting to get in on maybe that conversation and give your opinion back, people really can't take that personal, you know. And I kind of hated to see her. She was, I think, getting a little bit flustered, but Lori said, with Oakley, it may be from drugs because last seen leaving a known drug house. That's disgusting. Disgusting. Now, that was what I wanted to kind of go over today, too. I seen some people putting Candace in the gang category. You guys, I don't know about her being in a gang. I know that when Summer first went missing, right? If you pulled up Candace's Facebook, she had that insane clown posse stuff up there. and things like that. But you just because people wear a certain color, or hey Pat, Selena, hey, um, doesn't necessarily mean they're in a gang, right? Yeah, she was a beautiful baby. Ruby said, I don't watch anymore. I did a live the other day, but otherwise in my own world. Well, I like your world. You got a cool world. So I will drop the link. But what can we do? What can we do as, I don't want to say normal people because nobody's normal, but what can we do to help in some way these parents? There's got to be something we can do. I thought about one time starting something where if parents were getting frustrated or needed a break, maybe watching a couple kids, just for a few hours so mom can get out and relax. But I see there's a fine line there, because then I have to think, okay, well, if I do that, are they going to want me to watch their kids while they're out getting high or something like that, So for every good thing that you try to do, there's always the other side of it. So hey, Victoria. So I can definitely see why people hesitate on doing a lot of things. I know that people are really hard on Child Protective Services, and what we see of it is only the bad cases, right? Lori said the thing with all these kids is people around them have to start calling for help when they see stuff. Oh, yeah, Lori. Not too many people will actually call CPS. They just don't. They don't call the police if they see a child that you obviously can tell something's wrong, right? Thank you, Eve. I don't know. So let's begin with Candace, okay? I seen somebody make a comment about the way that she acted at the Dr. Phil show. And then they want to bring in the cornbread mafia, stuff like that. If Charlie was here, he would text me and he'd say, quit saying When the cornbread mafia, when that term was used, it was the behavioral panel that said cornbread mafia, right? Missy said, I don't have a problem at all calling PS, but it doesn't do a lot of good here in the middle of Tennessee. Missy, I've heard that before too. The strange thing about that is caseworkers, a lot of caseworkers, when you start talking about, Appalachia and those areas, they're afraid to go up on people's property. They're like the police. You don't know when people's going to react. Look what Candace did when she got her first two taken away. My understanding, she got herself a weapon and told them they were not taking her kids. So you can kind of say Candace did fight for her kids there first. But, Candace, the Dr. Phil interview, this is what I'm going to say. someone had called, okay, which is weird. I know somebody else said it was probably a hoax that Dawn and Candace did this while they were on the Dr. Phil show. But they got a phone call that they thought Summer had been sighted. Okay. So I mean, we can look at that in so many different ways. So the cornbread mafia was never a Dawn and Candace thing. That was what Dawn and the behavioral panel were talking about. These good old boys and them good old boys, and hey Charlie K. So the behavioral panel guys just said, like the cornbread mafia. Cornbread mafia have been around for a long time. And I believe when they started out, it was more marijuana, right? So, oh, Ruby, I'm sorry, Ruby.
Hey.
I am sorry. I didn't even look down, see you down there.
Oh, it's all right.
Do it on purpose, I swear. So, with
I'm
Candace,
used to being ignored.
I'll quit it. So at the Dr. Phil show, so she had somebody call in and say that Summer had been sighted, right? Then you can look at it also as Candace being an abused wife, if that's what you want to call her. So
Hey, Charlie.
People who don't understand what I mean by that, when you have been abused for a long period of time, your emotions are totally different than maybe somebody who hasn't, right? Oh, Missy said, I had neighbors that burned their kids with cigarettes and stayed high all the time. And every Sunday they would go to the churches in town and beg for help. And kids screamed all the time. Oh my gosh. Now, see, CPS should have got involved with that, because if they were doing that out in public or something, I just, that's sad. That is really sad. So when they were at Dr. Phil asked Candace a question. Dawn went to answer for her. And Dr. Phil said, I'm talking to her, let her answer. I want her to answer, right? So when you're in a abusive, controlling relationship, or have been, when you see something like that, your mind goes to Dawn controlling everything. Dawn is we know he's controlling. There's no doubt about that. And when the behavioral panel and Dr. Phil both said that basically Candace knows something that she's just not remembering, I go back to Dawn on that. Dr. Phil didn't say you're not remembering a stranger or anything like that. He didn't specify exactly what she wasn't remembering. And when I watched that, in my mind, I went to, what if she knows something about Dawn, right? That maybe she's not saying. I don't know. I take it back to Dawn. You guys know that. I think everybody on my channel and comes into my chat knows that I'm not a Dawn Wells fan. Never have been a Dawn Wells fan, and never will be a Dawn Wells fan. Bottom line to it. So if we go back and look at, I think I did a live, I think, where I talked specifically about Candace. Could and I'm saying could, my opinion, Don had done something and did it in a way where Candace couldn't say he did it because she was gone, right? I think Candace went off the hill. I think Don came up the hill while she was gone. And I mean, if that's the case, Candace can't tell us anything. What Candace can tell us, if that's the case, is what happened before summer went missing. Missy 18, I did call about them. It was public housing back in 92 when it's happened. They got evicted, but CPS did nothing. I still wonder about those kids today. Hey, GP, who would stay put to talk about their missing daughter rather than go follow up on the sighting? It was manufactured to give Candace an excuse. Well, GP, they did check it out, and it wasn't Summer. But the person that called, I believe, don't take me word for word on this, if I remember correctly, the person that called was knew Don and Candace. Okay, so you can put that in your little cap wherever you want to, ladies. Let's talk about. Oh, Jenna did. I knew it was somebody, GP. I just couldn't remember their name. I seen something come out. Jody Sue had something out yesterday, I think, or something. Maybe I can't remember if it was. I don't remember this morning, yesterday, and she was talking about the meth bubble pipe. Is that what they're called, Ruby?
You're talking about a
Those meth pipes.
oh yeah.
Is that what they call them, meth bubble pipes?
Yeah, they're they look kind of like a pipe you would smoke weed in, but they're usually clear, and they have a bubble thing in them. They're smaller than like a weed pipe.
Yeah, I've seen them on like documentaries and stuff before, but I just wasn't sure exactly
I've
what
seen
they
them in the
call.
stores.
Well, see, this is the thing. On
Certain like stores, like cigarette tobacco stores where they sell bongs and
right,
pipes and different things like that. I've seen them in there.
Lucy said they heat the bubble part up. Well, okay, this is the thing about the glass pipe. And Jody Sue, I was surprised she just put that out because she talked about that a long, long time ago. That she found, I believe, one of those smashed like at the end of her driveway or something, right? And
That
the
wouldn't
thing about that
surprise me with
was,
all the drugging up there.
at the time, I don't think she came right out and blamed Candace. But when this
Hi,
happened,
Andy's.
it was uh, July 15th, I think. I think I got it wrote down somewhere. And even though Candace was at the vigil, was at a prayer vigil for Summer, they talked about it was where she bought the pipe was like 4 minutes from where they were doing Summer's vigil in the park. Right? So what she was saying, it could have been broke before or after, whatever. I don't know, but supposedly the clerk at the store and Jody Sue both watched her buy it, right? So I don't know why Jody's coming out with that right now. What interested me, if anybody's seen it, who was the girl? Who was the short blonde headed girl that looked like she was mething it because she was moving her mouth? Yeah, Selena, that's what I noticed. Does anybody know who that lady is? No, Lucy Cat, I don't think it's lips. I've seen lips. That's not lips. So yeah, that it definitely ain't lips. So that's what was interesting. And then the text that, oh, I've got it all written down here. Let me find it. Okay, it was July 15th of 2021. And the text was at like 11:24 that night. So Jody Sue writes to whoever, I still want to vomit and bathe in bleach, but I have to be cordial and nice until this is done. Okay. Now, when she says that, I believe she's talking about the vigil. I don't think she's talking about, Summer's case being done or anything like that, right? He's never touched me before and shouldn't have today. Now, there's also a picture of the guy playing the guitar, right? So I don't know if maybe she was talking about the guy playing the guitar. She said it made my skin crawl. What she also talked about was having cameras. So whoever busted that bubble in her driveway did it right in front of cameras. So, and she talked about waiting until it was late at night so nobody would see her go out there. My point is, Jody, if you had cameras, just tell us who it was, right? If you're going to tell the story, tell us who it was. Missy said she didn't have to move her mouth to know she was on it. The way her eyes were darting around like meth-induced psychosis tells it all. Yeah, she was moving that mouth. That's one thing I noticed. But I'll tell you who can move their mouth around like that is Molly Golightly. She's on it. Her mouth goes 1,000 miles an hour. Her jaws have to get tired. So I heard about that. Then I heard people talking about Don saying he was going to unalive Prayer Garden. If y'all go back and watch it, if I had my screen sharing capabilities, I would do it. But if you all go back and watch it, then that's not what he said. He said even if she had, these are my words, even if she had something to do with Summer, he wouldn't take her out, basically. Liv said Jody unalive Summer. I don't believe that, Palm. I really don't. I don't think Jody Sue would have unalived her. And I don't even think Jody has anything to do with Summer actually getting taken. Does she know maybe who, what, when, where, why? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's just craziness. Oh, hang on. Chad's on the phone, Ruby.
What's up, everybody? What'd she say? Chad was calling. Hope it's not Chad
Yeah.
Daybell.
Hell no, it ain't Chad Daybell.
He's calling to save your soul.
Yeah. Well, I guess being your son don't count. I was like, nope, call you back. Oh yeah, that Lori and Chad. Hey, if you get a chance, Doug of No Thanks has a phone call out with Lori and her sisters. Her sister's named Summer, also, right? So,
Yeah. I don't watch anybody on YouTube anymore.
well, the only reason I'm saying that is because he's got that
I
phone
mean, I
call out.
watch what East Idaho News puts out about Lori and Chad, and they release all them phone calls and all the
Right.
trial testimony and stuff, and I listen to that. But
Yeah, Doug actually put out the phone call. So it was pretty interesting. I don't watch the whole Doug the whole time. Like I watched that.
none of them people watch me, and I don't watch them.
Nobody wants to text me until I'm live. So yeah, I mean, I watched that phone call. It was interesting. Hey, I see you. All right, let's get back to Candace. Now we know that when she was younger, she went to the carnival. So a lot of people, sure, carnies are manipulators and scammers and all that other stuff. But there was a period of time that I'm sure there was domestic violence in the house and stuff, but the cops were never called. Then Dawn started going to church. Well, a lot of people, Dawn said, I went around and checked out a bunch of churches and decided on the SDA church. So with him saying that, who else did that? David Dodson, right? He was making his rounds he left one church. I think it was at Baptist, Ruby, you remember? I don't know. I can't remember.
I think he went to some other church that has different, kinds of beliefs.
I had somebody tell
Might
me
have been that
once.
same church that the Lawsons go to. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a Baptist church, right?
No, not that I'm aware of, because whatever kind of church that is the same kind of church that, thinks this stuff can be prayed away, and, and forgive him of his sins, and, everything will be all right.
Maybe we should have Don go to one of those.
I just don't believe that way. I mean, yeah, I'm going to pray for somebody's soul, but you can't.
We should have Don
That
go to one of those.
cannot be prayed away.
We should have
That's
Don
the Duggars.
start going to a snake handlers church. Those are Pentecostal, right? Aren't they?
I have no idea and don't want to know. If your church involves snakes, I won't be attending.
Well, there's some people back there in those mountains that go. Well, I mean, I don't think it's legal.
I live in the mountains too, and I don't. So.
Yeah, they still handle snakes and stuff like that, but that's pretty far back in the mountains that they do that. So Don, feel free to go check that church out. Let's see if you get bit by the serpent. So, but they're not telling us anywhere or anything about how to even go about looking for Summer. They're not saying anything. Don, he gets on panels, you can't ask him specific questions, or he starts, acting up like a child. So my question is, when are they going to bring her home? Now, the picture of Summer in front of the haunted tunnel, that's where they found a body, I guess. So I'm sure it wasn't of a child, or I would hope that the news would release that. But the thing about it is, now people are like, well, that's so many minutes from Dawn and Candace, like 20 minutes, I think. So now they want to, some people are leaning into that person. Well, I guess we'll find out who it is. I I don't think it would have anything to do with Summer's case. They found a body outside of that. Oh, what was that big factory that they talk about all the time? But anyhow, they found a body right through there also right after Summer went missing. And I think it was homeless lady. Fly said, from what I read, adult male. Yeah. And we can look at it like this too. Since Summer has went missing, look at all the people who's been arrested and people who have died. Lawson's son, even though we don't feel like those victims got justice. The victims were very, very young when it happened. What gets me, Ruby, you can probably answer this. Why it took so long to sentence him. It took years.
Sentence
Right?
who?
Lawson's son.
Oh, yeah. Well, they kept it under wraps, and I mean, it was settled in court, but it was privately settled in court.
Well, no, what I'm saying is,
And I mean, what good did it do to sentence him? He didn't get no fucking sentence. He
well,
didn't
this is
spend any
this
time
is
in
what I'm
jail.
saying though. I wish I was well, I don't wish I was home, but all my stuff's home. When they sentenced him finally, the girls were a lot older. They were so young when it happened. These girls are, I believe, like teenagers now.
Yeah,
So
I think it took some time for them to come forward.
yeah, I'd have to look. I do know that when he first got in trouble over it, I just felt there was a long period of time before the sentencing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know,
And
because I mean, we didn't even know about it until it all just kind of came out, surprisingly. So, because they were keeping it, hidden from the public.
well, it would have still been hidden from the public if it wasn't for Summer, because nobody would be paying any attention to anything going on in
That's
Hawkins
true.
County
That's true.
at
Plus,
all.
involving, uh, essaying involving minors is, unless it's some kind of big major, deal
Well,
like somebody famous or whatever, that kind of thing is going to be kept under wraps anyway because of, minors being involved.
this is what gets me, because Dawn Wells is an admitted essayer, we'll put it like that, right?
Yeah.
And these women are just, I don't know why they're so defending him the way that they are. I just can't. I would never even
They
think
must be
about.
brainwashed from their own abuse. I don't know. I can't.
Oh, that's true. I
I can't.
never. I never.
I can't figure it out.
Lisa can't get into chat. Ruby, Lisa said hi. Lisa, I'll pull you up here in a few minutes. But
I still don't know how she could have blocked herself out of chat.
I don't know. I've got to go back, and I don't know a lot about making people mods and stuff, because what I do is I go back to I restream it on like my YouTube, and then I can mod people. I can't mod people from here, right here, so
Yeah, you have
I
to
would
do
have
it
to
from
get back
YouTube.
into it. Hey, Dina Lynn. But it's like, why do people defend somebody like that?
Well, I've never. There's one particular. I'm not going to call the person out because I just don't roll that way. Under these circumstances, I don't roll that way. There's one person who has defended Don and Candace who was a victim of SA, and I've never understood how they could just continue to ignore it and to
Are
continue to
they
make
a creator?
excuses for it. Yes.
They
And
are a
continue to make
creator?
excuses for it. Yes.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand either. If sometimes some of these
And every time
creators,
somebody brings it up, you know, and just stutter around and make it, excuses for it. And that's,
well,
that's the one
see,
thing
some of
I
these
just don't get it.
creators you can look at, and not necessarily that they'll defend Don and Candace, especially if it's giving them clicks and views, you know.
Well,
So
no,
that,
it's not about well, it is. It's always about clicks and views, but no, this person has, told that they were a victim of SA and continuously, made excuses for Don and Candace
well,
both.
honey, I threw somebody off my panel over that, over being a pedo protector. I'm like, you got to go.
I've never understood it.
You got to go and don't come back. Well, Dina Lynn,
Especially when he's admitted to it. How can you still make excuses for someone? Well, are you gonna blame the victim? You gonna blame the sisters? I
that's what
mean,
he
no,
did.
no, that's not
He
gonna do it.
blamed a 5-year-old. He
Yeah.
blamed a 5-year-old. I mean, that it's like, come on,
And
people,
if you're gonna turn
seriously.
around and do the same thing, and defend him and blame them, then I got no use for you,
Yeah, me neither. Me
But I
neither.
just can't understand someone who has openly admitted that they were a victim of child SA to still continue to defend him.
Yeah, yeah. Something not right there for sure.
So I don't know if it's some kind of weird, like I said,
Well, now, Ruby, we
Stockholm
know,
syndrome or
yeah,
what?
because we do know that, survivors sometimes just don't, they feel sorry for other
It's not
people.
somebody from the farm, Palm. It's another creator.
Oh, I don't even mess with the cow patty stuff. Not at all. Those people. Can we say we feel bad for them because they got sucked in the Dawn and Candace show? Maybe a little bit, but they're making money. They're all making money around there. You better believe it.
I think
Off of each
I
other.
think this particular creator is just extremely naive.
Well, let me say this. When we talk about money, okay, in the very beginning, Don Wells stated that a group of women had,
Absolutely not flies on coleslaw. That's funny.
Don came out and was talking about a group of women had gotten together and gave them $5,000 to work on that house. It wasn't soon after that that Don talked about going and buying the $2,000 worth of crack and handing it out for free. And I was like, are you people not realizing what he's telling you he's doing with the money? He wasn't working on the house. And if you honestly think that Don Wells is going to go buy $2,000 worth of crack and not do it all up himself, look at the big picture. Don said he couldn't even be a dealer because he used his product too much. What's that tell you? Right?
Just
So,
for him to say that stupid crap, whether he really did it or not, why anyone would continue to give them a dime is beyond me. But, you know, people are strange. That's what Jim Morrison said.
Lori said, if you're following that channel, be sure to fact check what you hear. Any channel you follow, any channel, even mine, if I say something, go back and fact check me. Definitely. I always appreciate that because here recently, I don't
Missy, I understand what you're going through.
what they were of anything, nothing comes out of their mouth means anything. Well, I said, all I know is law enforcement hasn't cleared DW and CB, so that law enforcement always starts from within and works out. You have to
Missy
think
brought
too.
up something about
Law
having
enforcement said
nightmares.
everybody's a suspect. Having nightmares.
Yeah, Missy, I wanted
Who
to
said that, Ruby?
I wanted to address Missy 18 talked about how she was a victim when she was a child and that she still has nightmares about it. I want you to know I completely understand what that's like and what you're going through. I was not SA'd as a child, but I was severely abused by my stepdad and my stepmother, and I still have nightmares about it. And I'm 53. I was mentally and physically abused by my stepfather and stepmother, and I still have nightmares about it. And just want to let you know that even though it's two different things, it's still the same. And these people don't understand that what the things you do to children affects them when they are grown adults.
Well, this is a good example of that is Don and Candace. Okay, we all are trying our hardest to think up theories and try to figure out what happened. And you know, Don and Candace have done anything but. They've came on and they've just started chaos, especially Don. It was all chaotic things that he was saying. Who talks about their child like that missing or not missing? Okay. Yeah, yeah, Palm, that I don't watch Jim Terry or White Boy at all. Dina Lynn, Don thinks just because it happened a long time ago that it can be overlooked. I don't overlook it. Me neither. I don't agree with anything that he's saying or doing, so. Don and Candace are scammers. They're manipulators, they're scammers. And when the cow patty people get used up, they're going to be tossed to the side. Just like Kathy the friend was tossed to the side. That's what Don and Candace do. They toss people to the side when they're not of use anymore. So then we have to look and go, okay, we know they've showed us what kind of people they are. So what possibly could they have done to Summer? Don admitting that he essayed his half sister or whatever. I don't care if you're half, a quarter, it doesn't matter. Right? That was his sister that he was supposed to love and care about. He didn't. He groomed her. And then he wants to say, oh, we dated. Really? We dated. She rode on the back of my motorcycle. Flippin' disgusting. He was a year old. Every year that he messed with her, he was a year older. And she might have been a year older, but she was still a child. So if that started at 5 and he was 12, go up a year for each one. Yeah, he wasn't going to protect his sister. He didn't protect nobody. Anybody who will talk about their own daughter being ARD and say that she didn't complain about it, that she, you know, is disgusting. And I can guarantee you, he probably never went to that person who did that to her and say anything. He probably did not defend her at all. See, that's the thing, when her and Pam came up on those panels and was talking, nobody asked them the right questions. They let him get up there and, oh, Daddy he was a good daddy. Oh, Don, he was a great husband. No, he wasn't. Pam and Don were drug addicts together. They both did drugs, okay? So, Don, it's been said by 2 different people in the family, he tried to sell his oldest son for drugs. Now, this is the thing here. He never had another girl till he had Summer. Summer was worth her weight in gold. What can we take what can we take out of, what can we get out of him saying that? He says that worth her weight in gold to get into heaven, right? What if she was worth her weight in gold for other things for Dawn, right? She was a little girl. She would be worth a lot.
I don't even understand what he actually means by that, because is he saying that she's worth her weight in gold for her to get into heaven? Or is he saying that she's worth her weight in gold for him to be forgiven or whatever, and for him to get into heaven? I don't understand
Well,
that.
the way that he said it, to me, he was saying that the way he was trying to say it was she was worth her weight in gold to get into heaven. But
I have no doubt about that.
creepy ass Don, you know, the way that he talks, just the way he said it was, to me, not appropriate for even the conversation that they were having.
No, because again, he's talking about her in past tense as though she has already, he's saying that she has died and that he knows she's died. So, she's worth her weight in gold. She's going to get into heaven, and then he's going to see her in the resurrection. Don, you ain't going nowhere but straight to hell.
Right. Or he said, he made that comment in a video that he could have used her for his drug debt, and then said the youngest son too. Do you think that the youngest son, something would have ended up happening to him if he would have stayed there? I don't know.
That I can't
And you
answer.
have to look at it like this, okay? Jeannie
That's
was
true.
5.
He most time he don't make no damn sense. I think he just talks to hear his damn self.
Yeah, he does. But okay, look at it like this. Don talked about being in the motel and bad things happening there, right? Said he didn't understand it till he got older. So that in itself was a red flag to me. That involved children. He did not go to the police, right?
He must have been awfully young to not understand it.
That's what I said.
I mean, he
That's
would have
what
had to
I
have been
said.
very young to not understand
He,
that the
let me tell
children were
you,
being
he knew
essayed in some
he knew
motel
what was
room or
going on.
whatever.
He knew what was going on. And why would you say that to people who have given their whole heart to your daughter? You know, we sat back
The
and
dude is sick. He's just
and
plain
hoped.
sick in the fucking head.
We just kept hoping and hoping that she was somewhere being taken care of and stuff like that. Then
Glory.
her own father comes out and says that stuff. And it's like, why would you do that to us? You know, why would you even do that to yourself to think those things? He's just, the guy is just crazy. Just crazy.
Yeah. Lucy
So,
Cat said that she thinks his past tense sometimes was a mistake, but it's not. And yeah, that's true. I think
well,
he's always known, and
what he tried to
he
say,
forgives.
what he said at the beginning, Don addressed that with WJ Jill, because he was talking, he used what he was saying about Summer in past tense. And then he said, I guess we better change that because they're going to come after us for that too. He knew but he keeps doing it. He keeps doing
Yeah,
it. We're the
Laurie, Dawn
ones.
and Chad Daybell are going to be sharing a couch together in hell, smoking cigarettes.
They're not allowed to smoke in jail, Ruby.
No, in hell. Don Wells and Chad Daybell will be sharing a couch and a pack of cigarettes in hell. Is the only place they're going.
Yeah, maybe they can share the couch that went missing from the Wells property.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if he ever answered about that couch or not.
I'd like to see that couch DNA tested.
Dina Lynn said, I asked him why nobody is allowed to search. He said because he nearly fell off the hill. What's that tell you, Dina Lynn? What's that tell you? That he almost fell off that hill. That tells you right there.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be easy for somebody to climb up there, right? And it wouldn't be easy for them to come down. The video I showed where they were showing the property, he could barely get up and down the hill then. So things that they think that they're showing, that's going to say, oh, somebody could have come up here or whatever, is showing me the complete opposite. And this gets me too. Why would you make a
Speaking of
video
Summer, here she is.
up there on that property? Why would you make a video up there on the property around, I think it was Summer's birthday, and everything's totally different? The weather's different. Why didn't they take one when the foliage was full during the summer, the exact time, around the exact time of day and everything? That Summer went missing like that.
Eve, I agree with you about Tim Mullins, and I think there's something that just ain't right about Tim Mullins.
Tim Mullins is like Don, right? They're both control freaks. So
And
it's a game they play with each other, right? Tim Mullins,
all I gotta
Don
say is I
to a
sure hope
certain extent.
TBI has done a thorough
And
cavity search on Tim Mullins.
uh,
Come here, Summer.
Tim, Tim
Say
Mullins
hi to everybody.
before probably, you know,
Say hi to
it's
say
all
hi.
these freaking people. They didn't know each other, and
Summer,
then
Summer,
all of a
quit.
sudden, a
Summer,
year later, oh, I've known them for
Summer.
years, you know.
Say hi
So
to
it's all
everybody.
bull crap. There's
Say
Summer
hi.
Kitty.
Say hi.
She's cute. But yeah,
Just keep me going,
you
lady. I
know,
want to go eat.
yeah, Lucy Cat. Tim Mullins is somebody who he says came into the picture when he seen Candace carrying the banner at the parade, right? And he called Robin the bread lady, that he only knew Robin from baking the bread for the church. I don't believe that. I believe that Tim Mullins knew exactly who Robin was. So you've got two guys with Robin kind of in the center, David Dotson and Tim Mullins. And I kind of look at that as Robin kind of being friend. I shouldn't say it like that, because no, Robin is not having an affair with Tim Mullins and David Dotson. But I think that Robin's got that personality that they probably wanted to be around her and talk to her and stuff. She was probably fun to be around. She set up most of the, you know, stuff that they did at the church and everything else. He says that when he looked at Candace's face, that he had never seen a look like that before. Okay. I call bull crap on that. She was walking down the middle of a parade carrying a banner, and Candace doesn't like to be around people. So the look on her face was probably like, I don't like to be around people. I shouldn't say it like that, but because
I
I
had to
think
get
that,
up and go feed Summer. She's feisty. She'll fuss at you till you get up and feed her.
well, and this is the thing too. Don is going to be best friends with Tim Mullen. Tim Mullen downloaded Don's phone when he went to jail. We don't know what was on that phone. And if Tim Mullins has a copy of everything Don had on that phone, I think I know why Tim and Don's best friends. So those are two narcissists that hang out together, and I wouldn't even want to be in the middle of one of their conversations. You know, one's better than the other. Tim Mullins wanted to make himself be relevant in Summer's case. Did he have anything to do with it? You know, I don't know, because I don't think I've ever heard Tim Mullins come out and say, I have nothing to do with this case, except for with the parents. But how do people, Tim Mullins and Don supposedly didn't know each other for a long period of time. So, you know, up until after Summer went missing. So how all of a sudden can him and Don be best friends, right? I know Don's hard up for friends. So is Candace.
There's just a lot of weird stuff, involving Tim Mullins and things that you can trace to him. I mean, I've got a retired FBI friend that I went to high school with that um, I've thought very seriously about discussing it with her. And if she were still an agent, is this something that she would take further, and look into with just what little bit of information that I have, that I know. And, it's like kids go missing every day. Where was he when they were looking for Evelyn Boswell? Why didn't he offer to help the Boswell family?
Don
Why all of a
said it,
sudden
Don
just
said
them in the
that
welfare?
I don't know if it was which child it was. I don't know if it was Carly or what. But Don says that he did ride around on his motorcycle or dirt bike or something to help find a missing kid or something around there. I remember him
Oh,
saying that. But you have to
Carly's
think.
friend. Yeah.
Okay, you have to think about it like this. Okay, Don has said all that inappropriate stuff about essaying, you know, whatever, 5-year-old. It doesn't matter what age. But so he has said that. Then Summer goes missing, and just out of the blue, he comes upon another 5-year-old little girl who's out playing by the road. I mean, that said a lot to me. That said a lot to me. That
Yes, Don overloads his mouth, and uh, yeah,
and
sometimes,
then
like I
he was
said, I don't know what his agenda is. I guess, for people to think, oh, he's a good guy. He saw a lonely little girl outside, and oh, where's your parents? And took her to the door, and oh, your little girl's playing by up outside. She might get kidnapped or, hit a car or whatever. And trying to make him sound like some kind of saint.
well that's the thing, when her mother came out on social media and was going off and saying he was trying to take her daughter and stuff. None of it made sense to me. It didn't look good to me. It didn't look to me like that was a situation where he just pulls up, right? And sees a 5-year-old girl. I could have bought it even more if he would have been like, oh, there was a little girl and she ended up being 7, or how he didn't know the little girl. So did he ask
Especially
her?
when this man's got his own missing daughter. We don't know what happened to her. Don't know if he was involved, the parents were involved, and then you show up on somebody's doorstep allegedly trying to help their little girl. Yeah, he'd got met with a
Yeah, he,
shotgun around here.
yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that
If he'd have
supposedly.
done that with one of my landlord's kids, he'd have got met with a shotgun.
I heard that Prayer Garden was on the phone with him when it happened, but I don't know.
I do too, Lori.
I
I
wasn't
sure
there.
do.
I believe Don is capable of doing a lot of horrible things, and what if somebody tries to beat it in my head that they're telling the truth? I don't think they're telling all truth. That's just the way I feel about it. And the things that Don has said from the beginning and told about himself, okay, why would he think that the stories that he tells us, number one, are okay, but he wants us to think of him as somebody who only speaks the truth. And I don't look at him like that. I think let me tell you, the stories Don has told are bad enough. Can you imagine the stories we haven't heard? Seriously. He talks about doing dope, hallucinating, um, being around young kids when inappropriate things were happening to him. It's just, and then his mind goes to her Summer being hard and getting hit in the head with a hammer.
I couldn't even Oh, I couldn't even
I
repeat
mean,
those things out of my mouth about, I can't, it's hard for me to repeat those kind of things. Like a lot of the details in these cases, like with the Vallows kids and what was done to Cupcake McKinney, and I can't even, it's hard for me to repeat those things out of my mouth. And I had nothing to do with doing those things to those children. And if this was being done to my own child, I'm not kidding, you would have to shoot me in the head. I I could not even repeat those kind of things out of my mouth
and
about
look
my
at
own
this.
child.
Do people realize that Don went right back? He went back to work almost immediately after Summer went missing. Almost immediately, he went back to work.
There's so much stuff that people ignore and excuse away about Don Wells, and it's like, people wake up.
Well, this is the thing, and I try to kind of get this point across a lot when I'm talking about Don, but
Man,
Don
it's thick.
Wells Don Wells talked about getting up out of bed, going to work. Okay, he wasn't sure what time he even got to work. Candace and Grandma and Summer supposedly were at the hospital or wherever at 8 o'clock. Well, Don doesn't even remember when he went to work, what time he got to work. So Candace supposedly didn't pick H up till 10 or 10:30. So that was a couple hours that Candace has never said what they were doing. I think she might have said one time, well, we were just sitting in the car, which could be true. But then that whole day, Don doesn't talk about anything that even happened that day until he admits to calling Candace one time, right? And then the next thing is 5:30. He swears he got that phone call at 5:30. We don't.
Yeah,
I'm
has
sure.
he ever talked about basically kind of like what he did that day? Well, I hung some drywall, I did some plumbing, I went and got lunch, or I had to go pick up some parts here at the lumber store. He doesn't even talk about like what he did that day at work. Has he ever?
Dudley says that the incident where Don was talking to his bosses and stuff when he was driving the Subaru, Dudley said that that happened on the 14th. Don swears it was on the 15th.
Oh.
But the bad thing is,
So
we're
are
not.
we saying that he drove the Subaru on the 14th and the 15th?
I don't know. I don't know what he drove on the 14th. I do. He did drive the Subaru on the 15th, though. Law enforcement did know that. And
I'm
we
not
have.
good with time either, Missy. I don't live on a schedule other than having to be at doctor's appointments at certain times. I don't live on a schedule either. I
I
don't
don't
live
pay
on
a
time.
lot of attention. Like when my granddaughter gets out of school, my daughter will say, I gotta go get her. So I know that's usually around 3, no, maybe closer to 4.
See, I don't have any of that to have to do anymore. I don't have kids in
But
school
for
anymore.
every single one of them not to have been paying attention to the time, I don't know. Hey, Danielle. Don said everyone was asleep when he went to work, but if Candace was at the hospital by 8, she would have had to leave before him. I am glad that you're looking at it like that, because my question was that picture, the last picture Don says he has with Candace, or I'm sorry, Summer, something about that picture just sends red flags up in my head. And why didn't, if Don loves Summer that much, you know how guys are with their daughters. Uh, most men would have carried their child to the car, right? But that's just some men. I'm not going to say they're all like that, but
Okay, if if Candace got to the hospital around 8 o'clock and she didn't pick Hunter up till around 10:30, okay, that bugs me
And
because
Don's saying he don't know what time he got to work. Don said he wasn't sure what time
well,
he got to
I
work.
mean, the hospital is going to have a record of what time she checked in and what time she saw the doctor and what time she checked out, which we don't have privy to, unless Don and Candace have repeated it out of their mouth. But we do know that Candace took her mom to the hospital. She went in and everything, and that she sat in the parking lot for a little while, and that Hunter says Candace called him. Candace says Hunter called her. I don't really care. They called each other.
Yeah, that's kind of stupid to be fighting over something like that. I
Exactly.
mean,
And
it's not like,
the phones are gonna tell. The phones are gonna tell who
yeah,
called who.
and
But
that doesn't even, I don't even think that really matters.
so
Which one
she
called each
left the
other?
parking lot and went and got Hunter, and then let's see, I'm trying to think.
Well, this is the thing.
Was Grandis with? Did Grandis? Yeah, she did. I want to say when she got to Allie's to pick up Hunter, I think maybe Grandis called and said I'm ready to go. So they
Yeah,
went back to the hospital and picked her up, and then
right.
they went and got the twisted tea and the vapes and all that, and went to the swimming hole. Or excuse me, dropped the prescription off. They said it was going to be a while, so they dropped it off. Went to the swimming hole. The prescription got filled. They left the swimming hole. Went and picked up the prescription, and then went to the grocery store, and then took Hunter home, and then they went home.
Well, this is the thing about it, and I wish I could find my paper because Chris McDonough, the time that he gave for them being at Walgreens was 2:30. I can't remember the exact time, 2 something, right? And my question was that when they picked up the prescription or dropped it off?
No,
But
that would have to be when they picked it up.
okay, so if they picked that up at 2:30 or whatever, right? Then she would have had to have taken Hunter home right after that
Yeah.
to be home at 3 something, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking they picked up the prescription around sometime, 2:15, 2:30, whatever. Then they went to the grocery store. I'm thinking they couldn't have been in there maybe more than 20 minutes in the grocery store, which a kid's gonna say, oh, they were in there for an hour. Well, you know how kids exaggerate.
Hey,
When
Danielle.
you're sitting and waiting on someone, 5 minutes can seem like 5 hours. And so,
Well, this is the thing about that. Okay, even with the timeline that I have, I've added time in there for her, right? Like she dropped Hunter off between 2 and 2:30. Are we being generous between the 2 and 2:30, or can we say, okay, well, she dropped him off at 2:15 exactly? So with it throughout the timeline,
I think they
people,
dropped her off around 3.
well, no, because she wouldn't have made it home when she did. It would have took her a few more minutes to make it home then. See, that's what I'm saying. If you look
Well,
at the
I mean,
timeline,
closer to the 3 p.m. mark.
Pat said
'Cause
Don told Chris and Josh
they
she
got home
drove the
around
car on the 14th. His truck
3:20
on
or
the
something. The
15th.
video was taken at 3:09, and the time from Allie's to Candace's is, I want to say, 10 or 15 minutes.
Don, Pat, why is Dawn telling Chris and Josh she said Dawn told Chris and Josh he drove the car on the 14th, his truck on the 15th. Chris asked him 2 or 3 times and he stuck the same answer. Well, then, if that's the case, then Dudley would be correct in stating that the conversation that Don had with his boss and stuff happened on the 14th, like Dudley said. I don't know why he would, after all this time, admit that. So, what he is saying then is on the 15th, he didn't have OnStar to keep track of where he was going, right? Is what it would say to me. Yes, he said on the interview, Granda's done with the news. She said they dropped off the script, sat around, waited, and that's when she believes Summer went not dropped off and went swimming. What her interview, she couldn't when she talked about the watering hole, it was like she couldn't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't. I believe so. I think she said.
Yeah, she was trying to keep up with the script and
Well, what
and
she was also trying to do was cover her
even
ass.
give a name to the watering hole. It don't matter if you give a name to the watering hole. I mean, we all know that they went to the watering hole, went swimming. But you know, once they get to that watering hole, there's 2 different stories told. Hunter says that Granda sat in the truck the whole time and added minutes to her phone, and Candace says that she got out and walked down there and picked flowers and all sorts of stuff. So,
Well,
who the hell do you believe?
no, this is what was petty
Someone
to
more
me.
believing Hunter though, because
This is
Hunter
what
has
was
nothing
petty.
to hide.
When Candace was like, "Oh, I told my mom not to be picking those flowers. I wasn't going to go to jail for picking flowers because if they would have got caught picking the flowers, you can go to jail for that."
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
it's true.
So, but I thought, why? That's not important to the story. It's like so much filler, adding in filler after
Mm-hmm.
filler after filler. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shoot.
I don't know. Granda sure did a lot that day, you know, for somebody who was in terrible pain and hurting and all that.
Well, this is the
But I
thing.
mean, I even after I go in and have that nerve burning done and or injections and stuff, I'm known to go by Walmart, you know, on my way home or Dollar General or
Well,
somewhere.
a lot of people
But
do
I'm
that
on a
because
riding cart. I'm not
yeah,
walking.
when a lot of, believe it or not, I've seen it happen more times than any. People will come into the hospital and get pain shots and stuff for their back or something like that. And the minute they leave while the pain medicine's still working, they go shopping. They go
Yeah,
get what they have to get done, and then they go home and chill out.
yeah.
So,
That's why I've always believed she went home and took a nap. I remember hearing that early on and just judging. I know myself and I know what I do when I'm hurting and when I don't feel good. And after I've been out on a day of running a bunch of errands and stuff like that. That's why I've always believed she took a nap when they got home.
all right, here comes Lisa Jetton. Make her behave. No, I'm just teasing. So this is the thing though. Grandma Candy said that when she got home and took a nap, and then she went back and started talking about the flowers and planting the
Hey, let
flowers
me ask
and
a
things
question
like
real
that.
quick. Because Laurie is saying something. When exactly did Chris McDonough go to their house and do that interview? Does
It
anybody have the
was,
date?
I've got it somewhere. It was a few weeks after.
Because Laurie's saying that Chris said there was a pile of flowers when he went to do the interview.
Yeah, there was a pile of flowers. I don't know what they looked like or anything, but in the bucket or the flower bed, there was the succulents were in there, and then
Yeah.
there was just, grass had started to grow up
Yeah,
in it.
some people don't believe that they transplanted those little cactuses or succulents or whatever on the 15th because there was already grass growing up in it, and that's where Summer allegedly put her little Paw Patrol toy in that. But they said no,
Well,
it looked like it had been planted earlier.
no, you've got a couple pieces of grass that are rooted in the soil that will pop up like that.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's true.
and it was just one or two pieces. It wasn't overflowing with grass. But I don't. That's the thing. I guess I took horticulture for 4 years. So when Candace says we planted flowers, I wasn't expecting to see succulents. I wasn't expecting to see little cactuses. I was
Right.
expecting to see real flowers, you know.
Yeah.
But then the rocks, this is what got me too. The rocks that were used in with the succulents was supposedly what they had gotten from Gatlinburg the weekend before.
Yeah,
So,
and she says Summer put those in there.
well, Candace is very guilty of not being a good mom. That's my opinion. And I'm saying that because no one would have had to have come out and try to convince people that Candace was a good mother. Nobody should have had to do that. That shouldn't even have been a question. And why isn't Candace just telling law enforcement everything she knows? She says she is, but do you guys really believe that?
No.
No.
I don't either.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke, Lisa.
I, they were pushing the Candace is a good mother factor too much. And you, just because just because you're on your own property and you don't walk your 5-year-old to the front door wouldn't make you a bad mother. That's just a mother you're on your property. There's no way she walked her to that door.
Country life is completely different than city life.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like if Candace is lying about the most simplest things that we could have looked at and said, we get you, you didn't walk her to the front door. We get it. So when all that started really turning into bullshit, it made Candace look even worse.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying is these little lies make things so much worse.
But this is the thing also.
Just be honest.
Did Don take control of the narrative because he's a controlling person? Or did Don take control of the narrative because Don doesn't want us to, I don't want to say look at him like he had anything to do with it, because I'm looking at Don 100% through binoculars, and his face is about 2 inches from mine. And I'm saying, dude, in my opinion, you are guilty.
I think Don took control of the narrative because A, he's a controlling person, but B, also because maybe he was afraid that Candace would let something slip or whatever, or say the wrong thing. But you know, he's the one that's overloaded his mouth more than she has.
Well, and
No.
you know, that's the thing.
I
That's
mean,
why I always felt that's a good way of explaining what I was trying to explain with the Dr. Phil interview. When you've went through any type of domestic abuse and you get around people that you don't know and you've got a husband like Don, you do get, I mean, I would keep my mouth shut. Just keep my mouth shut.
well, the
I
thing
wouldn't
about
say
the Dr. Phil show, in my opinion, is that Don is used to people on the streets. He's used to people that he can talk his bullshit to and they believe him, and people that he can manipulate. These are professional people that they just know. They have studied behavior and they have studied the way you blink your eyes or turn your head or
let me say
frown
this.
your lips
Law,
or all kinds of stuff. And they knew that something wasn't right, and it threw him for a loop because he found somebody he couldn't bullshit with.
right.
He found somebody that he couldn't manipulate and lie and to believe his bullshit. These people are professionals and they know better.
Well, that's the whole thing about it.
And I think
Law
that's why Candace flipped out. No, I want to leave. I want to leave. I'm being
law
interrogated. I want
enforcement.
to leave.
Well, and you have to realize too that
I said,
she did not want them. And okay, they had made that hoax call to Mary, right? So if you look at that, Candace was sitting there and they started talking the cornbread mafia bullshit or whatever. What did Candace say in that hoax call to Mary, right? She kept talking about the mafia. And I just, at that time, even felt like she started reacting the way she did because I think that she was afraid they were going to bring up that hoax telephone call when they started talking about the mafia. Lori
well,
said,
and I've thought too that you know, the whoever she and Don might have been involved with as far as drugs are concerned, you know, just because they're not called the cornbread mafia or it's not somebody from the cornbread mafia or whatever, you're on the right track.
well, this
You
is the
know,
thing
a drug
about it.
dealer is a drug dealer, mafia is mafia, mob is mob. You know, you're on the
But
right track.
I mean, I agree with some people who say a lot of drug dealers and meth heads, it's kind of a far stretch that they would kidnap a kid, right? I mean,
Well,
it happens. It does happen.
it almost happened to my child because
But
some
then
crap
again,
her dad got into, and
you
he
got
ripped off the dope man. I've told this story before.
Don tried to sell his son, they said, or left him at the drug guy's house or something. So it's not like, and Don, of course, Don won't admit that. That's one thing I've never heard him admit to doing that.
Don won't even admit to doing drugs.
But I just
Can you
wish,
see my comment in chat?
Everybody else is a dopehead.
well, that's the whole thing because I'm like, I don't want to talk to Don Wells, but I have questions for Don Wells, right? So it's like, I don't want him on my channel or anything. He's not going to answer my questions anyway. I've asked him in other people's chats.
I don't want him on mine either.
I tried to ask him in White Boy Lockdown Radio about if he drove the Subaru on the 15th and his truck was on that hill, then they would know he was gone in the Subaru, or they didn't care if his truck was there. And I got blocked, immediately blocked.
Wasn't it the first day? Wasn't it on the 15th when he first come out and said it? Wasn't it on the 15th that he said that he took the Subaru?
I don't know.
And now he's changing it to the 14th too?
Unless he took it both days, but I don't know why all of a sudden now he's coming out and saying that. I don't know why. I don't know why he's contradicting everything that he has said before. But you have
Right.
to realize, they are bringing up stuff over again from the beginning and changing it up because people are sick and tired of the Dawn and Candace show. We're over
Yep.
it. We want information on how to bring Summer home. Dawn and Candace are not going to bring Summer home. They're not going to do it. And if they can keep playing on people's heartstrings that they're these poor, unfortunate parents who lost a child and people are going to give them money and stuff like that, people are supporting Dawn and Candace right now. They've been supporting Candace since Dawn went to jail. Even if they're not guilty, innocent until proven guilty, whatever. Why are these people paying two grown-ass people to do whatever they want with the money, right? And another thing, this crap of Dawn saying, I'm in Chicago, I'm going to a church where there's all black people. Really? Why would you?
What? When did he say that?
Oh, he said that they're in
A couple of
Chicago.
nights ago.
They're
Saturday.
Yeah.
Why would someone who is a racist go to a black church?
That's what I said. I was like, hey, you know what? He may go into the church and say, oh, God forgives me for saying that. But buddy, you better watch out going out that front door. They'll stomp your ass. You know, it's like just ridiculous things. Why even come
He
on
ever says that
YouTube?
word to me and I'll knock his teeth down his throat because my granddaughter's black, Puerto Rican, and white.
He only says it to white creators. And then the excuse was made because, you know, he was in jail and people
Well,
in
he
jail
ain't into
talk
white
like
trash,
that.
so
And I'm like, I don't know if they talk like that too much in jail anymore because I'm sure they get their asses stomped, right?
oh yeah, no, you ain't gonna. No, he wouldn't dare say that to a black guy in prison. He'll get shanked.
Well, see, I got a story for that. You want to hear that? You want to hear this story that he put out? He went to prison and I guess ran his mouth or whatever. He got hooked up with a gang in there. And because of where he was born, the hospital he was born at, they were like, oh, you're good to go, Donnie Wells. You come on over here with our gang. And they were colored, right? And
Why the
fuck would you even
hospital
tell that
you were born
story?
in have anything to do with it?
And I would have to go back. I've got it written down. I'll have to find it and see what context he was even trying to tell that story because it didn't make any sense. And
He's
it's
so
like,
full of shit.
it was like, who gives a fuck? You know?
Full of shit.
So, and he just says things to make himself look better. It's pathetic.
And what he does is overloads his mouth.
Well, people keep wanting to, you know, talk because they think that he's going to slip up and say anything. Don's already slipped up and said a lot. But the way that he does it, that's why he will only go to channels that are sympathizers with him. I don't even think he cares if half of these women give a crap about Candace or not, because it's all
Yeah,
about
it's all about him.
yeah. And so I think if Candace was gonna,
Nothing worse than a needy ass man.
yeah, well, people don't understand. Candace was up there on that hill. Don was never there. When he was gone, he was taking his whole paycheck and going and doping it up, right? And
Mhm.
and buying women of the night and shit like that. He never helped her like a real husband should. That's why I got disgusted when she did that interview with WJHL and, oh, my husband, he's a good provider. We never went without nothing, you know. Her
I,
her
I like
daddy would take care of us, and I'm like, you are so full of shit. He was taking his paycheck, he was going and blowing it, sometimes leaving where she would have to get somebody go get him, bring him home. Her mom, I can almost bet money, her mom is the one who was paying the electric bill and stuff. I can almost
I'm
guarantee
sure
that.
she was.
So people need to just stop.
That's why. That's
Oh,
just why
thank
I
you,
can't
Eve.
watch all this mess and go to these channels and entertain this bullshit. I know better.
Well, let me tell you, I was the ones when Summer first went missing. I was definitely one of the ones who was trying to take in as much information as I could. And I was watching everybody. I was trying to, get the facts and, walk away from the hearsay and the bull crap. And what I noticed is I got to like a brick wall where the stuff that was coming out was so outrageous that definitely knew it wasn't fact. Um, just the craziness of YouTube and the true crime community and what was happening to it. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of creators out there. Oh, are you leaving, Lori? Thank you, Laura. Lori. Lori. Her dad is acting up. Oh, thank you, Lori. Yeah, make sure you email me, girl. So these creators, and then they got into drama and they were trying to outdo each other. There were even texts, texts shown where one creator was texting another creator and going off on them about using some information, and it was bad. It was so bad. And I'm like, why would you do that? A little girl's missing. We're trying to take whatever information we can, real information, and put it together. So I quit watching a lot of them. Then, if I caught one where three creators or more were getting together and talking about, what they knew was fact and different stuff like that, I enjoyed watching those. I think that so many creators can get together and have conversations about that. But Lisa, I can hear her in your background. So,
Yeah, hang
but
on just a second.
you have to realize that, these Benny Keys can tell you guys a lot about what it was like up there on that hill. Benny Keys can do that. Okay. Jody Sue can tell you some of what happened up there on that hill. I think her and Candace might have been close in some ways. I know they took pictures of each other's, bruises and stuff like that. So nobody can really tell us what it was like at Don and Candace's house. Nobody, I mean, because when Jose was there, he said Candace did not abuse the kids. Said that she would take it and take it and take it before she would finally blow up and holler and stuff, right? But never really talked about any type of abuse. Then we heard where one of the boys woke Candace up one morning and it pissed her off and she hit him. Then we heard about the shaving cream stuff. I don't know. Because he talked about the shaving cream stuff like that was something vindictive, mean, and malicious that they did. But you know what? We've done the shaving cream thing too. And it wasn't to be mean or malicious. We were just having fun. You put a little shaving cream on somebody's hand and then wake them up, you know. Then they slap themselves. He said they went crazy with the shaving cream, but I don't know. Jose's not here to speak for himself anymore. The first guy that Don blamed, he's passed on now too. You got Marlena Crawford's dad passed away. There's quite a few people have passed away that you can blame a dead man all you want to, but nothing's going to come of it. So Don was blaming everybody that he could and publicly. So if he, and this is just my opinion, there were people that he named that he should have kept that to himself. If he gave the information about them people to law enforcement, he should have never came on YouTube with those names. Why would you do that? Why would you make it publicly known to the people who you're accusing that you're accusing them? That's why everyone that Don Wells has named, I don't think had anything to do with it. I don't. I think it comes back to Don Wells. You can't walk around in public telling people after your daughter goes missing that you knew something was going to happen on your wife's watch. You knew it. You've known it for a long time. A gut feeling that you had. You're not psychic, Don Wells, okay? I don't even think you got even a empathetic bone in your body. So what happens? Something happens on Candace's watch. But he didn't care enough about that, okay? He didn't care enough about that not to leave Summer with Candace. He was gone to Utah for a long time. Why didn't he take Summer? Whether he just took Josie or not, why didn't he take Summer also? If he was that worried. So, just look at it like this. You go around and you're going to say, oh, I knew something was going to happen on that person's watch. How do we not know that you might make sure something happens on that person's watch? Right? I just think Don Wells made something happen on Candace's watch to, I don't know, get back at her for maybe the H stuff. And you have to remember with the H stuff also, Don put it out there that he was sending Candace all these inappropriate pictures. And Don went on and on. And just here recently, I think it was Doug asked him about that. And he said, no. And I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean no? You've been putting that information out there from the beginning. So now he's saying no. So all that tells you right there, Don was trying to discredit everything that Hunter was saying. Why? Why was Dawn? I can see Candace because she didn't want people to know she was giving him alcohol and babes. But why would Dawn do that to a kid who he said they would hug every time they seen each other, right? That he tried to treat Hunter a certain way because Hunter didn't have a dad, right? That's what he said. So why would you try to discredit what this young boy's saying unless maybe a little bit of it is the truth? I mean, that's, I guess, for everybody to decide on that. Hey, Coco. Yeah, it just all fits. It does all fit together. And I know when you, like when you're a YouTube creator, I know sometimes I'm probably hard to follow because I think of things on such a deep level. I just question everything. Everything's a big question to me. So, hey, 120 acres, in my opinion, because Don goes by what Candace tells him. Ooh. So 120 acres thinks that Candace is kind of the kahuna. That's interesting. It can go both ways. It can definitely go both ways. I think they're both, Candace and Don, both are sick in the head. And I think that they know so much about each other that they'll never tell on each other. They know things about each other that can probably put each other in jail for a very long, long time. So they're not going to talk. They're not going to tell on each other. Dawn has already forgiven Candace for her little escapade on YouTube with the boys while Don was in jail. Said he blamed himself for that. Why? Why would Don all of a sudden be nice enough to Candace to say, "Oh, baby, you was out there messing around. That was my fault"? I don't believe that. They're liars. And I'm just at a point where I don't get Don and Candace at all anymore. I don't try to get them because I don't want to be in their brain to understand the bullshit that's flopping around in there. 120 acres. Look how she lies, blames others for her wanting a divorce. Candace deflects all blame off herself. Well, I would say if Candace was wanting a divorce, she said she didn't love Don anymore. She said she loved him, but she wasn't in love with him anymore. And I think that started when Jose was up on the hill and showing her attention. Nobody ever paid Candace attention before. That's why she liked the younger kids. See, she could buy them booze and vapes and all that other stuff. And, you know, they showed her attention. So, I mean, that's just bottom line to it. A lot of people say she's got a 15, 16-year-old mentality of her brain. Maybe she does, but she ain't freaking stupid. I'll tell you that right now. She is not stupid. She's very street smart and can scam the best of the scammers. People like that just don't forget how to hustle. And she's been hustling most of her life. I mean, let me put it this way. If you're homeless, right, and you're not making any money, and you need to get high, you have to hustle somehow to get it, whether you're selling it, whatever. A hustle is a hustle, and you don't forget how to hustle. And, you know, Lisa can attest to that for sure. 120 acres because she told Don she was manipulated by people trying to get info out of her. If there was no info, what could anyone get? Well, I don't. Yeah, I understand what you're saying about that because you're right. What info was anybody getting? Nobody got any info. But I think what she was trying to say also is many people just suddenly became Candace's friend, right? And there were people who befriended her and were very supportive of her that were recording everything that she was saying. Candace wasn't stupid enough to say anything. She wasn't going to say anything, but it don't take that feeling of being manipulated away. So, you know, she can say, well, I felt manipulated because of what they did, but Candace wasn't going to tell anybody anything. 120 acres, that is correct. She would go with anyone that paid her any amount of attention. Yeah. I mean, we even heard stories of her picking a guy up from the dollar store, I think, and letting him come up there, right? So, and this is one thing I said about Ernie and BK.
Wouldn't that be putting her kids in danger though? Because she didn't even know these homeless people, so that would be putting her kids in danger.
And you know, Leslie, the friend of Allie's, okay, she's passed away now, but she's the one that was on the porch with Allie and her Allie's grandma talking to Chris McDonough. So Leslie, I listened to that interview, and of course I transcribed it. So when you're transcribing an interview, you have to go back and back and back and listen and get the wording just right. I heard Leslie speaking so much, her voice was ingrained in my head. And I cannot remember whose panel she was on, but she went up on somebody's panel and she was telling a story of a young girl, right, who had ran away from home, was hanging out with what's called dirty kids. Dirty kids are a group of teenagers, etc., that hop on trains and go from city to city, state to state. They move around. There's a group of them. They listen to music, smoke weed, probably drink, whatever. They're called dirty kids. You can find them on the internet. All you got to put in is dirty kids. They're like young hobos, okay? So she was discussing, it was Allie's daughter she was talking about. And that's, in my opinion, my deduction, okay? I'll even throw in alleged. She didn't want to talk too much about it because Allie's daughter was home and she was doing really well. So she didn't really want to tell a lot of it. But supposedly those kids had been up on the hill, right? And so when Don and they were if Allie's daughter was drinking and her friend, but Candace was drunk enough that I don't know if Don said something inappropriate to the girl or Candace got jealous, but she made the two girls go out and sleep in the truck all night. And that was Leslie talking about that. But Leslie just didn't want to say Allie's daughter's name, which was cool with that. So I kept thinking, and I wish I would have loved to have talked to Leslie about it because I was like, okay, well, was Allie's daughter just hanging with them kids and maybe she took one of the girls and it went up on the hill, or did a group of the kids actually stay up on the hill? That's a question that I've always had, but Leslie's not here anymore, so Okay. Missy said, I'm back. I guess they have made positive ID on Oakley. Oh. And her mom and boyfriend have been charged with multiple charges. Was on the news 13 Indianapolis. That is horrible. That is so sad.
Pigtails, please.
What do you want me to do?
Pigtails.
Oh, pigtails. Oh, my granddaughters want pigtails, y'all. Give Nana about 5 more minutes. I'm gonna get off, okay? And I'll do your hair. She is the cutest thing in the world. She's a little smart butt, and I love it. I'm teaching her all kinds of stuff, you guys. That is
You know,
so
I was trying to do my live last night and Ziggy V come on, right? Where'd
right.
Ruby go? She bounced off.
She dropped down.
But
I
anyway,
don't think she's been feeling very good.
she probably hasn't. And Ziggy V, I was talking about the homeless thing last night, and Ziggy V she got me all distracted, and I couldn't keep from laughing about it.
Why? What's funny about homelessness?
No, she'd come in and I hollered at her, and I was like, Ziggy V. And then she said it made the dog jump. We got to laughing about it. I couldn't continue my live. Well, I finally got it done, but
Yeah,
it was
Lucy Cat and Missy, I know where that area is too. It's disgusting. I started this out saying, you know, what can we do to help? And like I said, for every good intention that we have to try to help our children be a little bit safer, there's 5 things that knock us down in trying to do it. Right? That is something, I mean, I could name off 500 things that we could do, but the main thing, everybody, and you may not think that this has anything to do with children, but women need to empower each other, okay? Women need to empower each other, let other women know if they're in a bad way that we will help them. And you do not have to give somebody money to help them. You can help them find phone numbers, find the right organization, give them confidence in themselves. So many women don't have confidence in themselves. And when you're a survivor, if you're a survivor, okay, that means you were a victim before you were a survivor. So what we need to do as survivors is help you got to help the victims become survivors. You may not think that has anything to do with children. It has a lot to do with children, okay? A lot to do with children. Empower a woman. Let her know her true worth. Then maybe...
Let me ask you a question. Why does every time they find a little child's body in Tennessee, if she didn't unalive Summer, why did they, every time they come on the news and say that they found a child's body, Candace has to text every male YouTuber and tell them that she's going to hurt herself?
It's for attention. That's all
I thought
it is. That's all it is. It's for attention. And this is, okay, people don't come for me, okay? This is just something, this is kind of a fact. A lot of times, and this is my opinion, I'll put my opinion out there. A lot of times when you have somebody that's continuously telling people that they're going to do that, they're not going to do that. It's for attention. is what it is. Even a ride to resources can help sometimes if you can help that way. Exactly 120 acres. I mean, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Missy said, I was worried it might be summer when they first found a child's body because Grandis went to Indiana when she first left. Missy.
But what if Grandis stuck her in a suitcase?
Next time I go live, Missy, I will talk about that, okay? I will talk about that. I don't talk about that much. Brad with Sean was the one that said something about Grandis and Indiana. I can't remember where Grandis went first when she left the hill. I didn't think it was in Indiana, was it, Lisa?
No, I think it was Wisconsin.
Yeah, she went to Wisconsin or somewhere like that.
I think she had a brother that was sick or something like that, and she had to go take care of him.
Yeah, he had, I thought he had something going on with his heart or something and had surgery, and she had already obligated herself to go and help them when he got out of the hospital, I thought. So the Indiana thing was Brad Wishon. Why he picked Indiana, I have my thoughts on that. But I don't know. I don't know why they even use grandma in that story, to be honest. But I mean, they're all weird. They're all weird.
Yeah.
They're all liars. They're all weird. And Don and Candace need to quit the bullshit. When I want to hear what they tell us on the second year of Summer going missing anniversary, right? I mean,
Yep.
that is what I want to hear. If they can't
Hey,
tell
have you
me,
heard anything about the prayer vigil?
oh, I haven't heard nothing about the prayer vigils. This is the thing about it. You know, Don and Candace, I would like to know their reasoning behind saying Summer was kidnapped and already knowing that she wasn't out where the searchers were looking. If that was the case and he already knew she was kidnapped, who took her? He had to have known. You don't just make an
True.
assumption that your 5-year-old kid was kidnapped, right?
Right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Nothing new, that was they tell us, sad but true. Missy said, okay, just every time I hear that, found a child anywhere, it gives me goosebumps. But I did hear that she went, they from another line. I'm mistaken. Oh, no apologies needed over here. But people, if they quit letting Dawn and Candace come up on these panels and talking their bullshit talk, if they made them stay off social media for 1 month, I would love to hear the stories they're going to come up with when they come back in a month. Because probably most of it's going to be adding on to a lot of the bullshit they've already said. And, you know, Dawn and Candace get people worked up over Summer. They will have us being very emotional over their little girl while they sit back and don't shed a tear. I've never seen Don Wells cry. Never seen him cry over Summer, and that was the love of his life. Nobody loved him like Summer loved him. So, yeah. Hey, let me tell you, homeless people do need assistance. I we went, I got my granddaughter McDonald's for lunch, and there was a homeless lady, and she was in a wheelchair and had a cart, was pushing a cart. And, you know, the thought went through my mind. I was like, I don't know if I could do that every day. But she was going up to McDonald's. So my daughter put the car in park and pushed her cart up for her. And then she came up in her wheelchair. And I was like, hey, you done a good deed for the day. So,
20 Acres said they want to get a narcissist to really talk. Stop allowing them on panels.
you better believe it, 120 acres. You better believe it. Missy said, unless you owe a big debt to someone and they have already threatened that they will get you, then he could have been expecting something like that was going to happen. Yeah, because look at Don's lifestyle. Don just wasn't smoking the weed that Andy was selling him, okay? No. They were doing meth. They were doing cocaine. They were doing, from my understanding, allegedly, a little bit of everything. So, I don't know. Could Candace have sold Summer because Candace needed to pay something? Maybe. I want to know who was paying the car payments while Don was in jail. Do you guys think Don Wells had enough money in his bank account to make those payments on the Subaru and the insurance payments on that Subaru while he was in jail?
No,
I
Grandis
kind of
made
wonder
all
that.
those payments.
What?
Grandis made all those payments.
Well, that was the thing. Supposedly Don bought it. So somebody had to have been making the payments. At one
Well, I
time,
thought
I
he
don't
bought it straight out. But then
know.
I heard he made the payments on it. So.
Yeah, he's the one who said he was paying $600 a month. $600
Yeah,
a
but
month.
would Grandis have to pay that, or Candace lose it whenever he went to
This
jail?
is the thing with him having gone to jail. Somebody would have had to have been making them payments. Candace wasn't
Yep.
working. Don wasn't making any
Well,
money
so
while he was in
Grandis.
jail. Well, I
Hey,
mean,
Corey.
I don't know what grandma makes a month, so they call anything they can get their, yeah, they do anything. Yeah. That is a big car payment, Lucy Cat, because you have to remember he was paying the insurance too. You said Daisy will let them up anytime. Well, she'll learn her lesson in the long run on that. I mean, seriously. Yep. Hey, Corey. Hey, Cornbread Mafia. Cornbread said, I'll call a repo man on him. I would, that would be very interesting to know who was making that car payment. So, and let me tell you, if someone says, well, the car was paid off, where'd they get the money for that? Where'd they get the money to pay it off? And because you have to remember, Don took it to jail. Don took it to work because Candace wasn't driving it, and he was making that car payment. Candace sure drove it while he was in jail, but she didn't drive it when she had it there with the kids. Jose seemed to think Don bought Candace that car because of the incident that happened, the DV that happened around him being there. And then all of a sudden, poof, Candace has got a new car, right? But then Don takes it because Candace isn't driving it. If Don got that car for her to drive it because of the kids and taking the kids places, Why wasn't Candace driving it? Was she pissed off at Dawn? Maybe that's why she wasn't driving it.
Probably.
Maybe she said, it's going to take more than a new car for me to forgive you for banging that girl in there on the futon mattress with my kids in there. Missy said that Beverly lady that was paying Candace bills says she only had a electric bill, phone bill, $45 in child support. Yeah, somebody was paying for the Subaru. Who was it, Donnie? Donnie Wells. So, I do not know. Cornbread said Dawn traffics to rich folks. Candace does it for dope and uses low-level POS evil dope heads like Dawn said met the wrong John's customer. Well, you never know. Never know. Crazy stuff. People need to realize, and I've got another video on traffickers. I've got it scheduled, but I want to make sure I get it when I get it out that it, ends up being real good. Traffickers aren't, a lot of traffickers don't like kidnapping kids, right? Because they're an organization. And if they were to, I'm not saying they don't, because if someone's looking for a specific type of child and they can't find it, yeah, they'll kidnap a child, but they don't like to at all, right? That's just something that would, if they got caught doing that, would take a lot of people down, and they don't want that to happen. Candace and H took a risk outside the circle. You never know. I mean, she said Hunter was on the phone that day. Candace left the hill twice that day. Did she meet up with somebody to, it could be anything. She could have had Summer with her and took Summer somewhere and handed her off. She could have sold Summer, and the person who came up there on the hill and got Summer, she knew it was going to happen, maybe didn't know the exact date or time. Maybe that's why she can seem so surprised, right? That this happened, and I don't know. People traffic their kids to pay a bill, right? And not saying that that's what happened, but isn't that the perfect scenario? You've got 3 older boys, and then you've got a baby girl. Where are you going to make the most income off of? Not saying that they don't do boys, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that little girls and little boys are any different. None of them should be taken, right? And it is true, blonde hair, blue-eyed children seem to be, right up there on the list, which is sad. But, poor, when you're in a poor town and these women are not working, some of them are drug addicts, they have no money, they've got 3 kids, maybe 3 boys and a daughter as an example. And it's sad, but there are women who, that's how they, in their minds, are providing for the rest of the kids, right? It's horrible. It's horrible, but it happens. And see, that's the thing with the shed. You know, a lot of people talk about the shed and stuff going on in the shed and things like that, which was weird that Don went to the shed and then he said, I don't know if I looked in the shed then or if I looked in it later, you know, later on. Why would you drive to the shed just to get out of your car and holler Summer's name a couple times and then get back in your car and drive off? Not a touchy-feely guy. That's funny, Cornbread. Not a touchy-feely guy like the pastor. He's just a touchy-feely guy. 120, I tend to think those sensible tunnel photos are connected. Only Summer, no brothers. Then either Summer was real cleaned up, dressed up, and was told to pose, in my opinion. Same haircut as well. Very good possibility. Very, very good possibility. I mean, I'll tell you guys, I really enjoy you guys coming in here and having these conversations because everybody has their opinions and theories. Maybe at some point, some of what you're thinking and some of what I'm thinking, some of what other people are thinking, maybe somewhere along the line, that all may click together somehow. So, yeah, the preacher said, Robin said that preacher was a good guy. He was a touchy-feely kind of guy. You know, Robin couldn't stand to do an interview unless she had the preacher with her so he could explain why she believed the way that she believed. Basically, Robin don't know jack squat shit about the SDA religion and cannot sit and do an interview and explain to people why she believes the way she does. Okay? That's the way I took it. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So that's right, 120 acres. Everybody's opinions might be the answer, or little things put together and things like that. So, all right, you guys, I have got to get off here. I told my granddaughter 5 minutes. I got to do her hair. Like I said, I love being here with her. She's so funny, and you better believe Nana's teaching her some stuff. So, so yeah, we're having a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So, but I wanted to pop on here today and just reach out to everybody. And is everybody doing all right? We're definitely gonna send Ruby prayers. Um, Ruby just hadn't been feeling good, so. And send a prayer out to who else needed a prayer that I was seeing. I think it might have been somebody in Andrew's chat that needed prayer. So you know what? If you're gonna pray, just pray for everybody. You know, pray for everybody. Charlie needs prayers because I'm gonna kick his ass. Okay, Charlie. I'm just joking. I'm not gonna kick Charlie's ass. He's my buddy. Charlie's funny though, because he'll come in at the beginning of my live and, you know, do his thing, and then he goes back to sleep. So he'll probably text me later and say, I fell asleep, I'll be right back. And I'll be like, Charlie, I've been off for like 5 hours, dude. Go back to bed. He's a good guy though, you guys. Charlie's a good guy. Oh, you getting a couple teeth pulled? You just got a couple teeth pulled Monday. Ew. I know, Lucy Cat. I hate getting anything done in my mouth. And it doesn't matter if you've got mouth pain. No type of pain pill makes that go away at all. Yep, 120 acres. God does know our needs for sure. For sure. And you know what? It doesn't cost anything to even give somebody a little bit of, encouragement on something, you know, and you just don't know how that may you can just say one lifting thing to them and make their, you know. So, all right, Lisa Jeton, I am going to find out why you're blocked in my chat because it's driving me nuts, Lisa Jeton. And everybody be nice to Lisa. People are really getting on her. She lets it bother her. I told her take a woosah moment. She would be okay. So, but thanks everybody for being here. You guys know I appreciate y'all very much. And I'm going to go through and call y'all out. Y'all get called out. Eve, always a pleasure. Eve and Lucy Cat and 120 acres. I really appreciate you coming in. You really say some really well. See, I hate to do that if I say, you really say good stuff. I don't mean nobody else says good stuff. You know, I mean, all you guys are really insightful on things. Dina Lynn and Corey, always appreciate you guys. Cornbread Mafia, definitely appreciate seeing you come in. Who else we got? I don't get very many people in my chat. That might be it. That might be it, y'all. Oh, Lori. Lori, thank you wherever you went. I appreciate. Oh, Missy. I don't forget Missy because, like I said, that was my nickname in my family. There's still people who call me Missy in my family. So I just won't ever forget you, for sure, for sure. But like I said, I just wanted to pop on today. I hadn't. Oh, that girl 77. Thank you, that girl 77. Um, you know, yeah, just popped in, enjoying time with my granddaughter. You guys have a great day. Lisa Jetton. I don't know what she's doing. Goodbye, Lisa Jetton. Oh, Lisa. She's something else, you guys. I know people are like, she goes everywhere and drama. I call her my field correspondent. I don't have to go anywhere. Lisa tells me all about it. So, but I do appreciate you all so much. And don't forget to email me. And hey, if you guys get feisty, it's okay. I always say that. A little bit of feistiness never hurt anybody. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. And thank you, Ruby, for being up when you were. Thank you, Eve, for all your kind words. They're much appreciated. So just go out there in that YouTubian galaxy and make people be kind to you, okay? Nobody needs anybody to mouth off to them or be mean to them. Tell them they show you some respect. That's right. You came from Remain Calm's chat and you will get respect. If you don't, you let me know. All right, you guys, peace out. Have a great day.